there are 4 forwards on the bench. That's a risk. There's no specialist half replacement. If a half goes down, a half 5'8", I do know that Cameron McGuinness is going to play that position.
Yeah.
And they're doing that on the fact that he played in that position for the Sharks against the Storm a couple of weeks ago. I don't know whether that's adequate enough to risk that in an Origin game. I think that's, but every time I try to look at the perfect bench player for New South Wales, I want to give Craig Wing a ring and see if he can come out of retirement, because he was always, for me, the perfect type replacement.
He's still fit.
I'm sure he is. There is a gamble. There is a distinct gamble in the way New South Wales have gone about this. Now, that's not to say it won't come off. That's not to say that 4 forwards on the bench won't be a huge asset on the night if everyone stays fit and well. If they don't lose an outside back, if Queensland don't lose an outside back during the game, then it's going to be a gamble what they do with Cobbo. Right? So someone's got to gamble on something. Queensland have gone this way based on the trends in previous Origins. As Billy Slater said, 4 of the last 5 games they've had to replace an outside back. And the fact that teams in clubland, if they haven't got an outside back on the bench and they're forced to make a move in the first half of games, are losing the majority of their games. They're losing the majority of their games. More than 80% of them are losing games if they've got to replace an outside back in the first half without a specialist outside back. So, I'd imagine that's the gamble that Queensland have taken. But in that, they've got players, like Patrick Carrigan and Cotter and Collins, who can play big minutes in the middle as well. Hopgood can play big minutes in the middle. Even a Ben Hunt can go to lock forward and if Harry's playing dummy half, if the need comes to. But both sides have taken, and every bench is a gamble on what you cover. New South Wales have gone with 4 forwards. If they're going to cover an outside back, they're going to have to cover it with Hudson Young, or they're going to have to cover it with Angus Crichton, who are adequate, but, if it comes down to a foot race between them and Valentine Holmes or them and Hamaso, you know who's going to win.
So I'm reading between the lines here, and you would have preferred a 4-man bench, maybe including Burton as a live option, as backup, but also as a tactical option.
Well, yeah, a player that's got versatility to play. See, why Burton keeps being used as an 18th man is because he covers halves and he covers outside backs. He covers the centre position, and someone else can shuffle around. If you put a Luke Keary on the bench, he only really covers halves.
Yes.
So Burton gives you a little bit of an each-way bet.
Yeah. And he's big enough to play at lock or something if you needed it.
Well, he probably could, but that's, there's always a gamble. There's always a gamble, unless you've got that perfect. I was always blessed with having people like a Steve Menzies who could play anywhere on the field, and a Craig Wing who could play anywhere on the field, and that gives you a great deal of comfort as an Origin coach, that you cover a lot of the options that might be available. I've also had games where I've had a 17th player that I didn't even get onto the field, never put him out there because we didn't need to. So it was just there for security. Some are there tactically, some are there for security, some are there for strategy. But that's just the makeup of your bench. This New South Wales side is going to be a good, hard-working team. Queensland will have to play well to beat them. But brilliance, game breakers, probably we don't have the likes of a Harry Grant or a Reece Walsh. Or a Hamaso. We don't have that sort of scintillating game breaker, do-it-yourself type player.